we get into the show, there is a small announcement from the Outdoor Woman team. We have decided to set aside one day a week, a Q day for your questions, and this will be implemented as soon as the message reaches at least 50% of the viewers. Your questions can be anything from as simple as, hey Nisha, what is 1 plus 2? Or even as complicated as, do you think India's economy will get any better? So it is actually an open floor, and you are welcome to ask any questions from any genre, and I will answer to those either directly or sarcastically depending on the question. So there is an email address dedicated for that, which is nishatheoutdoorwoman@gmail.com. to spell it out for you, nishatheoutdoorwoman @gmail.com. The email ID is on your screen now, so you can pause and refer. So please start sending in your questions with your name and place in the subject line. So now back to today's episode. Everywhere we turn, there is coronavirus. Either it is infected people or awareness messages, or news about infected people and awareness messages. Tamil Nadu is now at the beginning of self-quarantine status, and I would ask you to stock all necessary food and medicines just to be prepared in case the number of coronavirus cases increases and there is a lockdown, just in case. So amid this corona panic, just to make your moods lighter, we have taken a list of celebrities who are infected with the virus and how they are handling it. So, top on my list is Tom Hanks and his wife, actress singer Rita Wilson. They are the first Hollywood stars to announce that they are infected with coronavirus. They have been placed in quarantine in a Gold Coast hospital in Australia. Hanks has urged the public to heed the advice of experts. Best-selling writer from Chile named Luis Palveda, who lives in northern Spain, has also been infected, showing symptoms of the new coronavirus in February after he had returned to his home from a literary festival in neighboring country Portugal. Next, in sports, Italian football team Juventus has announced that one of their players, defender Daniel Rugani, has tested positive. French basketball player Rudy Gobert has become the first US National Basketball Association player to test positive, prompting the NBA to abruptly suspending the season. American basketball player Donovan Mitchell has also been confirmed to have tested positive for COVID-19. Colombian cyclist Fernando Gaviria is doing well after being admitted to hospital in the United Arab Emirates 10 days ago. He is the second of the two cyclists at the UAE tour to have been identified with the virus after Russian cyclist Dmitry struck out. Now let's see about the list of politicians who are infected. Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau has been placed in isolation for 2 weeks after his wife Sophie Trudeau tested positive. Sophie Trudeau came down with flu-like symptoms after travelling to London. She became sick after returning home from a visit to the UK last week and is also isolating herself at home, according to a statement which said her condition has improved, but out of an abundance of caution, she is being tested for COVID-19. Mrs. Trudeau was in London to speak at a WE Day event at Wembley about women's empowerment alongside former Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard and pop star Leona Lewis to an audience of 13,000 young people. Now we have to worry about the former Australian Prime Minister and Leona Lewis too. So next, Binona Gomez, the wife of Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, has also been infected. The government said that Mrs. Gomez and the Prime Minister are in good health. Spain's Equality Minister Irene Montero has tested positive and has been quarantined along with her partner, Deputy Prime Minister Pablo Iglesias. French Culture Minister Frank Reister is staying in his Paris home after contracting the coronavirus. coronavirus. British MP Nadine Dorries is the first British politician to be affected. Several senior officials in Iran have been infected, including Vice President Masoumeh Ebtekar and Iraj Harirshi, who is the Deputy Health Minister. Australian Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton has entered hospital quarantine after being infected. He recently met Ivanka Trump, the daughter of the US President Donald Trump. Fabio Yaniertin, a top aide to Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, has tested positive for the disease following a trip on which both met with the US President. Italian politician Nicola Zingaretti has tested positive to coronavirus. The leader of the co-ruling Democratic Party is the first leading Italian politician to test positive. Next part of this episode is celebrities like Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande and even Barack Obama has asked people to stay isolated. Now let's see a list of those announcements. This is the end of my list, and before I close for the day, let me again remind you of the Q-Day announcement. We have decided to set aside one day a week for your questions. Your questions can be anything and I will try to answer those either directly or sarcastically depending on the question. So there is an email address which is dedicated for that Q-Day, and the email address is nishatheoutdoorwoman@gmail.com. The email ID is on your screen now, so you can pause and refer. So please start sending in your questions with your name and place in the subject line. Stay connected with the Outdoor Woman, Nisha PS.